Hello guys, we are back with another fun tutorial. I'm Shu from Between Two Mules, and today we're going to discuss how you can use cache scope in your MuleSoft application. Before we jump into the definition, I would like to discuss a case study where cache scope can be very useful. Consider I want to retrieve and send data to an enterprise system. Let's say I want to use Salesforce via OAuth token. In order to connect to Salesforce, I need to authenticate myself via a token. To retrieve the token, I need to send my username and password, which is affiliated with that Salesforce instance. Let's say I want to send multiple requests to the Salesforce instance, and each time I need to get the token in order to process. This not only increases the number of requests that I'm sending to Salesforce, but also increase the processing load on MuleSoft instance. Instead, what we can do, we can use cache scope, just like Ismi from Between Two Mules did. She used cache scope on the token URL so that she can store the token and can reuse it multiple times. So what cache scope really is? The cache scope is for storing and reusing frequently called data. You can use a cache scope to reduce the processing load on the Mule instance and to increase the speed of message processing within a flow. It is particularly effective for these tasks, processing repeatable requests for the same information, just like we did for the token URL, processing requests for information that involve larger repeatable systems. Let's jump into a tutorial where I'm showing how you can implement a cache scope in your MuleSoft application. Studio, and I have already created a project called cache scope. In this cache scope, what we have one Mule configuration file known as cachescope.xml. So in this flow, we have a scheduler that is scheduled to run every 1000 milliseconds. You can definitely change the time unit and frequency as desired. After that, I have a transform message. Here, what I have done is I have created a variable in which I have stored the body, which I'm going to send with the token URL to get the access token. So as you can see, I have a grant type called password. I'm calling this variable that I created here, and client ID, client secret, username, password, and the security token. If you guys can see that here I'm referring to a config YAML file. So this config YAML file is in source main resources, in properties, and here you see the config.yaml. If you guys can see here, every property is encrypted. If you guys want to know how you can encrypt your properties in MuleSoft, check out the link in the description below. We have created a detailed video on this already. So after the body is prepared, I need to hit the token URL. So for that, I have a request connector. The name of this request connector is retrieve token, and in the configuration, I have set up the token URL for my Salesforce instance, and the method here is post, and in the body, I'm sending the variable that I prepared, and in the header, I just have one content type. I have no query parameters, no URL parameters. So after I get the access token from the request, what I'm doing is adding bearer in front of it. So this will act as a bearer token, and it will help me to access my Salesforce instance to make more REST API calls. As you can see, I have created a caching strategy. If I click here, you guys will see the object store that I have defined. I have a global reference object store, and I have a key expression, access token key. So this will be created in the object store, and I can use it to retrieve my access token. So for the object store, what I have done is I have created one object store with the name object store, and here the time to live is 15 minutes. So the idea of this cache scope is, let's say for the first time, I'm gonna hit this URL to retrieve the token. Let's say I want to get the token again for some other purposes. I need to hit this URL again, right? But if I have the caching strategy implemented, I don't need to send a request to this URL again and again. I can simply grab the token that is stored in the cache. So let me debug this to show you guys this in action. I don't want to save. So as you can see, the flow is stopped here because I have a breakpoint. So I'll step into, And for the first time, it's gonna go and hit this URL to retrieve the token. As you can see. So for the second time, since I have a scheduler here, so it's gonna trigger the flow every 1000 milliseconds. So for the second time, it shouldn't go inside this cache scope because the token is already cached. As you can see, it bypassed this request because the token is already cached. So I'm going to process this flow for the third time just to show you guys that it's not going to go inside the cache scope because the token is already cached, and the time to live is 15 minutes as we have implemented in our configuration. So after 15 minutes, this will go in the cache scope and it will retrieve the new token. So that's how it works. As you can see, I can do it as many times, the token will still be there and I'll be receiving the token in my variable. So this is how you can implement caching strategy in MuleSoft. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I hope you guys like this short video. Thank you so much for watching.